first morning of Disney month, my favorite time of year on the channel. It's another beautiful morning here at Shea Lutoons, and best of all, I don't have to review any terrible knockoff movies. Oh no, Skelling Bones, this is the one month of the year that you're supposed to be on vacation, aka not around me.
Well, I actually was on vacation in the jungles of Africa. I was there just a few moments ago, actually.
Then how are you here?
Oh, you know, it's a part of being an all-powerful Shinigami. You can kind of just go anywhere. Anyway, I was walking around and I saw a street vendor selling movies, and one of them caught my eye.
Yeah, no way, Skelling Bones. This is Disney month. No knockoffs, no bad movies.
Well, just because something is Disney doesn't mean it isn't awful. Case and point. Well, you better get started watching. And make it snappy, would ya? I can't go back to Africa until you're finished reviewing. It was actually a rental street vendor, so I need to bring the VHS back.
Well, it is technically a Disney movie. Oh boy, better keep this guy nearby. I have a feeling we're gonna be needing it. Okie dokie, folks, it's time to journey back into the world of Tarzan. And instantly, we are greeted with the familiar voice of Phil Collins singing Two Worlds.
Two worlds, one family. Trust your heart, let fate decide.
But this time, there's a female voice added in, I guess to represent Jane. I love how it's just the same song from the original, but with a random female singer crammed in. Oh well, it's better than attempting to make their own low-rent original song.
Yes, and you wouldn't want that, would you?
So that's gonna happen later on in the movie then?
I mean, of course.
Okay, let's take a step back and look at the original Tarzan and Jane. Undoubtedly, as you've watched even just the few clips I've shown so far, you're saying to yourself, this doesn't look like a movie, this looks like one of those low-end Disney spin-off cartoons. And you'd be right. Upon the success of Disney's 1999 Tarzan, there spawned a series, The Legend of Tarzan, and surprise, surprise, it wasn't very well received and it was canned, but they still had a few episodes they hadn't aired yet. So Disney, of course, takes one look at these leftover episodes and sees nothing but a big pile of cash just sitting there. So they take the three generally unrelated episodes and cram them together with a few new scenes for flow, if you will, and basically call the episodes flashbacks. And oh, did you hear that? It was Kerchak rolling over in his grave. Okay, so let's get into the story, where we are catching up with the characters 1 year after Tarzan and Jane have been married, and Jane is planning to throw Tarzan an anniversary party, but not before Turk and Tantor help her recall some of the events from the past year.
Like, remember when your three friends came to visit?
Oh, I remember this. It all started innocently enough. Just a pleasant afternoon in the jungle.
Yep, this is the device with which these three stories are haphazardly glued together.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
I know, Tarzan. I know. Okay, but let's get into the first adventure. With this story, Jane's three finishing school friends drop in from England to try and save Jane from the savage wild man. Hey, ladies, if you really did think Jane was captured by a jungle savage, why are you showing up over a year later to save her?
Why am I even asking these questions?
So next we find Jane talking to her friends about Tarzan, and they are concerned about her and her departure from the proper teachings of their finishing school to live in a jungle, and with a wild man no less. Though the little stout friend does seem to be on Team Tarzan, maybe a little bit too much on Team Tarzan.
He's rather robustly proportioned.
Now, we haven't even gotten started on the animation, but it's in this scene that the dead eyes syndrome starts to peek through. Sometimes characters will just sit there with crossed eyes for minutes on end. It's a mix of hilarious and creepy.
Hello? Who are you looking at?
So while the gals are talking, we have Tarzan talking to his pals, and they are sure that the friends of Jane will try to convince her to civilize Tarzan. Oh, and then some panthers leap out of a bush. Yep, that was the whole scene. They jumped out, walked in a circle, and immediately fled. So the story continues, and Tarzan deals more with his insecurities that his jungle life may not be enough for Jane's refined tastes. She asks him to wear his father's suit in front of her friends, and Tarzan starts to think that Jane is embarrassed of him in front of her schoolmates. But I've just got to say that there is something kind of refreshing about seeing the petty marriage problems of a Disney ever after couple. But also, it's just completely boring. So Jane attempts to take her friends out for a picnic to show them the joys of jungle living. But before they can really start to enjoy it, they're attacked by that same pair of panthers from earlier, and they're chased into a rushing river floating on top of a fallen tree. Meanwhile, Tarzan tries to find the women before the Panthers can, and when he does, a full-scale battle between Tarzan and the Panthers takes place. And let me just tell you that the use of this one panther sound effect is truly amazing.
Jane, no!
So Tarzan defeats the Panthers.
I will remember.
And Jane's friends have learned through this unconventional journey that the jungle does have sort of a thrilling appeal, and that Tarzan himself, well, I guess they all love him now. And with that, they all sail back to London. So back to the Anniversary Party Planning Committee, or the Overworld as I like to call it, where they've now moved on to talking about exchanging gifts. A diamond, for instance.
And do you remember the last time Tarzan tried to get you a diamond?
Yes, I remember, Turk. Like it was yesterday.
So the next part of the story involves two seedy diamond hunters hoping to explore a volcano and find some rare stones, but they're in need of a guide.
His name is Tarzan. He knows the jungle better than the animals themselves, but he won't be easy to convince.
Wait, so Tarzan, works for this company as some kind of tour guide?
Well, of course he does! I went on a tour just yesterday, and our guide was a savage jungle man raised by gorillas. They really are all the rage in African jungle expeditions.
So the two men try to convince Tarzan to help them explore this volcano, and in the process explain to him what diamonds are and how in civilized society they can be used to express your love to another. This of course sets Tarzan's gears in motion, wondering if he should maybe be getting a diamond for Jane. So he decides to help the men go to the volcano if they agree to help him get her one diamond. That's one diamond. And I'm sure you've guessed based on these guys' character designs that they are up to no good.
Does he know them crates is full of explosives?
Well, if it explodes, at least we'll get the ivory.
Yes, if the bombs blow, at least you can scavenge that beloved Disney sidekick's mutilated corpse and harvest its tusks. At least there's that. So, as promised, Tarzan takes the men across the jungle, beyond crocodile-infested waters, and deep into the volcano, where sure enough there are hundreds and hundreds of diamonds, which they proceed to bag up. And then when Tarzan talks about getting his one agreed-upon diamond, just one, out of hundreds and hundreds, the bozo bad guys flip out and try to kill him. And when their first attempt fails, they blow a bomb up inside a volcano, trapping Tarzan, Jane, and her father. And of course, the volcano begins to erupt. The two bad guys end up getting themselves trapped and losing all their diamonds on the way out. Guys, this whole thing could have been avoided if you just gave Tarzan the one diamond that he wanted. And you would have safely escaped with hundreds of diamonds. You would have been millionaires.
That doesn't make any sense.
So, back in the volcano, Tarzan ties himself to the others as they desperately try to climb up and out of the volcano as it erupts, but they can't quite move fast enough. Certain death is upon them, until Tarzan does this.
Grab hold of me, hurry!
But we want to go up!
Don't worry, we will!
Is this possible?
No, Jane. Surfing down a lava river on a rock with 3 people on it balancing perfectly isn't possible.
So they surf down the mountain on a shard of rock, even passing by to save the bad guys who had been stranded, ultimately bringing them back to be dealt with by the lawmen.
In the end, justice was served. Jungle justice.
Well, that's a very nice story, but well, I don't see what it has to do with our anniversary.
That's right, Jane. It almost feels like a completely unrelated story that's been just aggressively forced in. All the same, there is one story left to hear. It's something to do with Tarzan dancing?
You remember the last time he danced?
Oh, yes. That wasn't a happy occasion at all.
So we meet back up with the whole gang hanging out at the camp.
Oh, come, Tarzan, dance with me!
Okay, who let Jane into the whiskey storage again? So the gang is all hanging out when a plane soars overhead and crashes nearby in the jungle. Upon investigating the crash, Tarzan and Jane discovered that the pilot is none other than Jane's childhood friend, Robert, who flew all the way out to see her, not shady, and not long after, when Jane and her father find themselves in a bit of trouble, it's Robert who saves them and not Tarzan. Uh-oh, Tarzan, looks like you've got a little bit of competition. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Tarzan. If I knew... Why is it always like this? What comes next sends this story off the rails in irreparable ways. It's revealed that Robert is actually a double agent looking for a code machine which he hid in a music box and then gave to Jane in their younger years so he could come and retrieve it later.
That doesn't make any sense.
This is revealed when Robert pulls a gun on Jane and proceeds to deliver some kind of evil monologue. But why, Robert? Why did you even bother telling this to Jane? Just take the box and leave.
That doesn't make any sense.
Somehow you're even less intelligent than these two. So at this point, Jane, for some truly inexplicable reason, just grabs the music box from Robert and tries to run away with it. Why does she care about some British code machine she knows nothing about?
That doesn't make any...
But as she runs from Robert, I'm reminded that we've yet to talk about the animation in this film. It's lovely, isn't it? Well, not really. So look, I recognize that a Saturday morning Disney show has a massively reduced budget compared to a feature film, but it's still fun to have a chuckle at. The animation in this especially sticks out to me versus the other Disney shows because the original Tarzan was so cool and was animated unlike any other Disney film we'd ever seen. I kept thinking back to the scenes in the original where Tarzan was just flying through the jungle, swinging from vines and sliding on trees. It just looked so fantastic. It was like you could feel the velocity and really understand how acclimated Tarzan had become to the jungle. And you just got a sense that the jungle itself was so deep and lush. In this, though, the jungle is just flat usually with like one painted background layer. And as for the vine surfing, well... So while Jane is failing to run away from Robert, Tarzan stumbles upon another crashed pilot, a good guy this time, who's actually chasing after Robert. And, oh god, not these two again. Alright, who invited Panther.aiff and Panther.mp3 to the party? Guess we're in for another long and arduous Panther fight. Okay, well, that was easy. So following that, there's this whole preposterous airplane fight. It's kind of boring for an airplane fight, and ultimately, in the end, Tarzan and friends win the day, sending Robert off in handcuffs.
Goodbye, Robert.
Not goodbye, Jane. Just until the next time.
No, Robert, there's no next time. Not for you or for this TV series. But unfortunately, we still have the matter of the anniversary. And with just 5 minutes left in the film, well, I haven't got high hopes.
Happy anniversary, Jane Porter.
Surprise!
What is this?
Our anniversary party.
Party?
It's our anniversary, Jane.
Tarzan, you're wearing your father's suit.
Yes. I thought I should be better dressed for a party.
Well, would you look at that? It looks like Tarzan was planning an anniversary for Jane all this while. All those horrible stories we listened to were just a diversion. I mean, it's almost like they were completely unnecessary. And hey, he even returned to the diamond volcano to get her that ring after all. And what's this? Oh no. An original song. Well, at least it's performed by Mandy Moore, right? Oh, shoot. It's terrible. And whether you're happy about it or not, that's where the movie ends.
Whew. Alright. You happy?
No, not really.
Yeah, well, at least you get to go back to Africa.
That is a good point. Oh, and I'm gonna borrow this. Toodles!
Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button down there. It really helps the video out and helps more people to be able to see it across the internet. So I would really appreciate that. And that's about all I got for you guys. I will see you next time. I gotta go buy a new flask, I guess.